Hey y'all, hi, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I am once again just out of the shower, although this time I have already done the hair business, and that is because I really need my hair to dry. This afternoon, I am going to a wedding. And so today we are doing a get ready with me wedding guest edition. And I gotta say, I'm super excited. I'm super nervous. I've had my dress and outfit and accessories kind of all picked out for weeks and weeks and weeks now. But I'm also feeling nervous because if you've been here for a while, you know that I've got Crohn's disease. I have a body and a digestive system that doesn't always cooperate with me. And sometimes that means that I am only when I need to be somewhere and feeling good about myself and my body, kind of at the whim of what my body decides to do on that particular day. So I'm feeling a little bit nervous that way. Also, my body in general is just like not really where I wanted it to be or where I want it to be at this moment in time, but I'm also just trying to like let go of the body dysmorphia, any kind of feelings and thoughts that might send me right back down a rabbit hole of like eating disorders. We don't need to go there. I don't need to go there. But really the focus of this video is mostly just to get my face of makeup on. The wedding is at 4:30 today, so it's still, and it's an inside venue, it's not outside, so I'm not really going to be dealing with like bright sun here in the city that I'm currently living in. It is supposed to rain later today, but in the city where the wedding is, there's not supposed to be rain. But I still want to, you know, make sure that my face looks good. I want to go natural, but I also want that like springy, peachy kind of blush going on. I want to have just a little bit more emphasis than usual on my eyes. I'm actually, I think, going to do my eyebrows, even though my bangs will be down. As I said, my hair is drying. I was really hoping that I would be able to shower earlier today than I was able to, because I want my hair to air dry and have its like natural curl. But I also am going to be heat styling it. I've got a barrel curling iron at my side here that I will turn on in a bit. Once my hair is a little bit further along, I might have to take a diffuser to it. But I did also add in a heat protectant spray, which I think is disrupting my hair's natural curl pattern. There is now like too much product in there. Anyways, I am absolutely all over the place with this, but I'm thirsty. My lips are parched, so I'm just going to go in with, this is the Clarins Lip Comfort Oil. This is the, it's not really a shade, it's more like a flavor because of how sheer it is. It's raspberry, smells beautiful, doesn't actually have a taste, but I think that actually might end up being the lip today. But just as I'm getting ready, something to just keep them hydrated. And then I think we're just gonna jump right in. Now, because it is like a late afternoon wedding, I'm not sure that I'm gonna go in with sunscreen, at least on my face. Ooh, I don't know, but I still want radiance. Usually my sunscreen, which if you've been here, you know, has been my mainstay, the Naturium Dew Glow Moisturizer SPF 50. But as an alternative to that, what I was going to use was this little sample I have of the Armis Beauty Re-Evolve Radiance Locking Primer. But I feel like they both have the same effect. So maybe I will just go with the Naturium, play it safe, make sure that if I am outside at all, at least I am protected from the elements, you know. Sun care is self-care, is health care. So I'm just gonna put that everywhere. Of course, this week too, my skin did kind of decide to shit the bed. If you watched my last video, which is my Sims video, and you know, were able to bear with me through that intro, I am PMSing a little bit. So, you know, the hormones are doing their thing, which obviously has an impact on my skin's appearance. I have managed to get most of it under control, but I ended up with these two blemishes kind of like right in the center of my lip, right between my Cupid's bow, which is the most infuriating thing. And I don't get blemishes there often, but when I do, they like go immediately to scar zone. And it takes them a while to heal. So that's going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt in terms of trying to get them covered and not inadvertently making them the star of the show today on my face, because I really want to feel pretty and fresh and lovely. While I'm waiting for the sunscreen to just soak in a little bit, I'm going to go and do brows. Now, typically I have just been going in with the Revolution soap styler, but I don't know, the other day I picked up the NYX Thick It Stick It Brow Mascara, and this is the shade Brunette. It is TISI06, and I was just playing around. I was kind of doing like a no makeup face. I really just did like some very basic concealer to just even out the skin tone and some blush, and then I used this on my brows and I was like, oh, do I want to start doing my brows again? So we're just gonna go for it today. I don't hate this product. I just haven't been doing my brows because, again, I've got bangs and I just usually have zero patience. But I do really like the NYX brow glue, so, which now comes in tinted versions, but I picked up this in lieu of having access to the NYX brow glue tinted versions, and I actually really don't mind this. Again, I'm still going like pretty relaxed. I'm not going to take a pencil to them. I'm just giving them a little bit more volume and a little bit more intentional color, just in case my bangs blow out of my face, you know, and my brows are revealed. And so my favorite way to apply any kind of brow mascara is to kind of back comb first and get the lashes really coated. And I'm going very gently, like I'm not pressing against the skin. I don't really want that pigment on the skin, so it's very much just being applied to the brow hairs and then brushing back up to kind of lock them into the fluffy position that I want them. And I do find that this one has a reasonable amount of hold. And as we kind of discussed in the past, a brow gel, similar to a hair gel, does not really, this is a great look, does this hair, it does not really do anything for me. My hair does not really seem to, oh great, I'm gonna have to go through a clean spoolie, put a clean spoolie through that just to grab that. A gel doesn't work with my hair in general. It is really like a waxier, kind of thicker, like there has to be substance to whatever I'm putting in my brows in order for them to actually kind of lock into place the way that I want them to. So now just taking clean spoolie and just getting rid of that little patch there. And that's kind of all I'm gonna do. It just gave them a little extra definition, and I might go back later and kind of readjust, but we're gonna just go straight into complexion because I think I've got a nice, I mean, that Naturium sunscreen does give a very nice base for makeup. It's like slightly tacky, but I like feel bouncy and hydrated. And the last couple of days, just to kind of like assist with my facial sculpting, I have been giving myself the gua sha, how do you pronounce that? You know, the little like quartz tools for your face. I've been giving myself little facial massages, which has also really been helping with my like congestion. So a little bit of a 2-for-1 there. Can't complain. Now, because it's a wedding and it's not just like a regular day out on the town or at work, I'm actually going to be using the newest product to my collection. Well, one of the newest, there's several here, which is the Ritual Defeat 3-Drop Weightless Serum Foundation. As soon as I saw this release, I didn't participate in the lab access, which I'm kind of happy about because the actual release of this has been lovely. And I'm actually only going to use 2 teeny tiny drops. I'm using Potion number 150. Also just love the fact that it's called Potion 150, and it's a pretty good shade match for me. And the lights are pretty hot, so it is causing a little bit of a distortion in color, but I'm just really going to focus that on the central part of my face. And it feels lovely. It doesn't feel greasy. If you watched one of Kaki's latest videos, she does talk about this. I think it was kind of like a first impressions video. And surprisingly for a Ritual Defeat product, this one kind of has almost like a mattifying dry down. It does dry down, but it goes more matte than dewy. So having the Dew Glow Moisturizer SPF 50 from Naturium underneath it is going to give me a much more radiant complexion, but that is not coming necessarily from the Ritual Defy Weightless Serum Foundation. And again, I used 2 very teeny tiny drops, and it just spread really beautifully across my skin and just helped to kind of even out the skin tone, and I find that it wears nicely. I will be using some powder today just so that everything is kind of set in place, but it's not, you know, such a new product. I've been testing it out that I feel like uncomfortable using it kind of for like the first time for a wedding. We're in a good place with it. I feel confident that it will do well by me throughout the day. Now, time for some concealer, and of course I forgot to dampen one of my sponges, so I will do that as it's kind of setting. As I did in my last video, I'm going to go in for my under eyes. I'm going to use the RMS concealer in medium 3W. I'm like not digging my finger into this at all. I am just patting it and then patting it into my under eyes. I just do want a little bit more brightness there, and onto the sides of my nose here where my glasses leave like a permanent mark. And we'll just also put it kind of between my eyebrows for a little extra brightening, and I will use it there on those blemishes between my cupid's bow. And I'm gonna blend all of this out. I just kind of want it to set down a little bit before I blend, but I will go dampen my sponge. And then for the rest of my minimal little blemishes, I'm just going to use the Kosas Revealer Concealer, and again, I'm using the shade 6. So that's just going to be dabbed around my nose where I do tend to get red and blemishy, and then on the little spots that will inevitably start to peek through on my chin. I don't think, let me just turn my mirror here. I don't think I really have any chesticle blemishes that I need to worry about. Maybe one like right there at the base of my throat. I will also revisit the body complexion once I put my dress on, and luckily I think I can safely pull my dress on from the bottom up. I do not have to pull it over my head. Okay, I'm gonna go quickly dampen this little teeny tiny sponge. Okay, she's back. And I might have actually have to just like sit a little bit further back here because the lights are making me super bright. Now, one of the other reasons that I'm feeling a little bit nervy about this wedding, aside from, you know, my body not necessarily cooperating and being my bestest friend today, rude of it either way, is that I don't know the people whose wedding it is. They are friends of my boyfriend, longtime friends, and they're just like, I think some of the few who I actually have not met yet in the last year. And you know, being an adult is hard and whatnot. It's difficult to make plans with people because we're all so busy. That blemish. Anyways, I only know one other couple that's going, but otherwise I'm just kind of like flying blind here in terms of knowing people at this wedding. And that's always a little intimidating when you just like are sort of the outlier and don't know people. I'm sure it will be fine. I think, get along with most people. I'm smart. I can talk about lots of different topics. It's just always a little intimidating meeting new people for the first time, and we've also talked about that before, specifically actually with some of my other boyfriend's friends, who all, you know, turned out to be completely lovely and wonderful, but it's intimidating, especially as an adult. It's so much more challenging to make friends, and as evolved as we are getting kind of like in social dynamics, it can still just feel very alien and strange to interact, especially with like other women. I don't know, there's just like an intimidation factor all the time, or I notice it anyways. And maybe it's just my silly little overthinking brain. We'll see. I'm sure it's gonna be fine and lovely. We're gonna have just a blast, but you know, anxiety. Okay, so while that is all kind of like settling, and I'm also like getting ready pretty early. It's just turning 1. I mean, we do kind of probably want to leave at 2, so like not too early, but I don't know. It feels early, but I wanted like the hair to settle and the face to settle so that it doesn't settle when I'm already out and then I don't have an opportunity to fix it, you know? But something that I would like to do today, just to like give me a little extra like oomph for my look, is to go in with just a light dusting of faux freckles. So I've got my little Freck OG, the like teeniest, tiniest mini on the planet. I'm going to start with emphasizing my existing little freckles and beauty marks. And then just start giving myself, and I'm doing this before blush, bronzer, etc. Because I feel like, one, once I get all that stuff on my face, it will kind of help to set the freck, but also it just disguises it a little bit more. It makes it look just a teeny touch bit more authentic, because obviously I am not naturally freckled. And so I've just done, like, again, such a teeny tiny light amount. I might do a little bit more, but it's just to give my face like an extra little something. And like if I lose some of them in the process, it's also like totally fine. Again, as someone who is not naturally freckled, I don't want it to look unnatural. It's just a little something extra that makes me feel cute and pretty. Now, the nose freckles, I always screw up. They always look so weird. Again, probably because it's not natural. I think also the key is to like not overthink it. But because I'm also prone to blackheads, I'm always like, if I put freckles on my nose, is it just gonna look like I'm having a terrible complexion day? And that I'm literally just riddled with horrible, horrible blackheads? Like, listen, genetically, I know that that day is coming for me. If my Italian grandparents' skin is any kind of indication, but I don't need to make that day today, right? I think that's cute. I can go in and add more. I don't even know if they're gonna show up on the camera. It's really not that obvious. But in my little mirror here, I like it, and I will just keep that on me. The question, do I go in with a powder bronzer or a cream bronzer? Maybe powder, just to be safe and just to make sure that it kind of sticks. But I'm also gonna take out my Kaleidos Symphony Contour Trio in the shade Tan. And maybe I will do just a tiny bit of contouring as well, just to, you know, we want to feel a little extra snatched for a wedding. So I've got this little e.l.f. putty bronzer brush, which I really like. It's quite lovely and soft, but it is a little bit more precise and is angled. So I'm actually going to use that as my contour brush. And I'm just taking like literally one dab into, squeeze me, the central color there, the one that is definitely meant for contour. And I am just going to take that very lightly. I'm not swiping, I am patting underneath where my cheekbone sits, just for a little bit. The most subtle amount of contour. And again, because now I have a little wet beauty sponge, I can knock that down a little bit more if I do find that that's necessary. But it's just, I want it to be natural. I want to just have a very, very, very subtle shadow here, and that was too much. So much for subtle. As you can see, that is now no longer subtle. But I'm really trying not to be heavy-handed here. And again, I'm not a makeup artist. I'm just a regular girl. I'm gonna take that underneath my chin. Just, again, not trying to look sun-kissed under my chin. It's just for the emphasis, or the de-emphasis. Because, you know, as you get older, the double chins kind of start to appear. Similarly, I'm just gonna go on my jawline. Not something I ever really do, but when in Rome. And I have like a shimmery body option, so if I'm feeling like nothing is blended, like down my neck and my like collarbone, all of that is going to be reflected that way. And I may have to go to the window momentarily and like really look at this to make sure that like I don't look insane. But I think I'm just gonna flip my mirror here. I think that achieved what I wanted it to. And as the day goes on, I feel like my face settles. Usually in the mornings, like my face just feels very round and a little puffy, but like as the day goes on and maybe I get more tired, I do feel like, yeah, my face just settles. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does, at least to my eyes. So at the end of the day, I feel like I have a little bit more definition in my face because of this strange phenomenon. Maybe it's because like I'm more hydrated towards the end of the day, you know, that kind of like water retention has dissipated, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. And because I did the gua sha thing, I do have some like natural flush still coming through on my cheeks, which I think is really gonna act as a guide for where I will put my blush. But I am just gonna go in with my standard Inika bronzer, and that is going to the high points for that sun-kissed look and up onto the temples. And I think the powder was the right call. And again, like with the eyebrows, we are just going to, for consistency's sake, keep the makeup all the way up on my face, like into the hairline and whatnot, even though the bangs come down and it's fine. Can't really see. And one more dibby dab, which is going to be for my nose, because for me the goal is always sun-kissed. And then I'm just gonna like sweep some of that across the eyelids. I'm happy with that. I still feel like very glowy even though I used a powder, but to knock down some of the shine, and I think I'm just going to dab at my under eyes a little bit more. I'm going to, rather than the Kosas powder, I'm gonna go back in with my Cheekbone Beauty powder, even though it's completely destroyed. I just feel like this is more effective because if I want to mattify and like really set, it just has proved a bit of a stronger product for me personally. I still really like the Kosas, but for someone who tends to lean a little bit oilier in this summer, I want just like the extra ability. So I'm dabbing my, just a teeny tiny kind of like, this is actually I think a highlighter brush, into the mess of my crumbled powder here, and then just kind of pressing it into the bristles in the lid. And this is what I'm going to use for my under eyes. Again, not using any kind of sweeping motion, just very much dabbing. And I'm not sure if you can see the difference there, but it does do a nice job of just taking down that shine, and it will set my under eyes nicely. And I'm also going to take it into the corners and between my eyebrows as well. And that will also set that teeny tiny little freckle that I gave myself there. Just for the sake of it, I'm also going to do the tip of my nose. I think I'm really just going to use this powder everywhere, but I'm using the same teeny tiny brush for every place on my face where I want that effect. I think I'm going in with a powder, or sorry, I'm going to be using a cream blush, so I might break this back out to set some of the places where the blush will sit, but otherwise I am pretty happy with how this is looking, and I'm just giving my brows a touch here. They feel pretty good. I'm just going to take my clean spoolie and make sure that the fronts of my brows are giving the effect that I want. Yeah, this NYX Thick It, Stick It does have a pretty good hold for the like texture of my brow hair. So very appreciative of that. I'm feeling super intimidated because now we have to move on to the eyes. And I'm just like not 100% sure what I want to do. I took out my Kaleidos Futurism 7 palette in Sashimi City, which we have used before. Just nice neutrals, though we do have two really impactful shimmers here. But I'm mostly just going to be using this palette today, I think, for some of the mattes, like probably this one, which is Gourmet. And then I think we're not going for like the salmon one. Probably use this one and then the two darker browns. But I also recently, for the first time, and interestingly enough, that's called the bento, I've got myself finally a Kaja bento box, a beauty bento, and so stinking cute. I think this is one of the newer releases in the like bento line. And this is the Coral Sunrise beauty bento. And it's so cute. I mean, this is definitely like a khaki influenced purchase, but I wanted something that was also just like super easy and compact. And I really love the shades. The packaging is adorable. So we've got, technically it says that we have a mosaic chrome, a shimmer, and a matte. But I would actually argue that the bottom one is more of like, if you have or are familiar with the like original Tati palette, she had like a sequin shade, and I don't know if you can see it here, but there's actually like there's shimmer in there. Yes, when you put your finger in it and like do a swatch, the base is totally matte. It functions like a matte shadow, but you do have like sequined shimmer in there, which I'm fine with, but I just feel like it's a little bit misleading to call that a matte shadow. And that is in the shade Flaming Sunset. It's super pretty. Then the middle one is Coral Starlight, which is just like also absolutely stunning. And that's the one I think that's just identified as the shimmer. But again, it's like a high intensity shimmer. This is, you can barely see it because these are tones that are very at home on my skin tone and kind of blend in, but it's got like a pink backing, pinky salmon kind of, I guess, coral backing with gold reflect. And then the top, which is what they're calling the Mosaic Chrome. It is in the shade White Aurora. I'm just gonna grab the little plastic disc there, which I don't need. Stunning. And I'm just holding it to the side here to just try and figure out if the color will actually grab. It's so high impact. I definitely want to use this on my eyes today. If you just do like a full swatch where you're like actually dragging it, it's going to feel a little less sheer. But the way that I like to use this kind of eyeshadow is by like dabbing. So there's a little bit more dispersion of the glitter particles. And that's, I think, what's gonna happen on my eyes. So I think these are two very complementary, possibly a little too complementary palettes that I've got here. Like even the packaging looks exactly the same. So maybe a little silly that I went with that color, but whatever. I think the peachy tones are going to complement the shade of my dress, which is like a lilac tone. And I didn't want to do purple eyes. I want to kind of try and keep it all neutral. Khaki might call it like pink face, but I want my face to look fresh and natural. Like it should all feel kind of like at home on my skin without looking or feeling too overdone. So because I've already got, we're going to just go back into my Anika bronzer with my, I think this is an e.l.f., a little e.l.f. blending brush, just because I've got some of that already on my eyes, lightly dusted. And I'm just going to kind of push that a little bit further into my crease and like this sort of outer corner. And that's also going to help like kind of mattify and tamp down just the glow of my skin overall. And I also just really like this on my under eyes. So I'm gonna go right in and do that. And this is my little Eco Tools Accent Shadow Brush, which I'm just tapping the end of the brush into the bronzer. And I do, because it's a wedding and I want my eyes to pop just a little bit more, I will have a little bit more emphasis on the lash lines in both corners, but like upper and lower outer corners. But this is just a nice base for the rest of what I want to put down. And then I think we're gonna go right into the lightest of the shades in the Futurism palette here. Sashimi City, now that I can say that properly. This is the shade Gourmet. I'm gonna go back in with my e.l.f. blending brush, but I'm really just rubbing it into a towel here to get the remainder of the bronzer shade off of it. So it's like pretty clean now, and very lightly just dabbing into Gourmet. And that is basically just going to be dusted all across my mobile lid. And again, not a makeup artist, probably doing all of this in the strangest of orders, but I don't really care. If I look and feel pretty when all of this is said and done, that's all that matters. Also, because I do have a couple new mascaras, but because it's a wedding and like I'm emotional as a Pisces in general, but also like, you know, PMSing, we're going to our roots of like a waterproof. I don't care how hard any of this is to take off at the end of the night. I do not want to cry off my makeup. I feel like that shade is like so close to my skin tone that did it really do anything? I'm gonna flip my mirror again just so that I have the magnifying side so I don't have to like keep leaning so far forward. Also, I feel like I did not get enough bronzer on this side, so we might have to revisit that right now while it's right in front of me. I don't know if it's like the way I'm sitting, maybe the way that my mirror is placed. Again, I will take my mirror to the window and just like get some natural light, because the last thing I want is to like get into the car, pull down the like mirror of truth and be like, whoa, this is terrible. No one wants that. I'm gonna leave Sashimi City for the time being. Again, we're not going like over complicated on the lids, but I think I'm going to only go back into that for the darkest shade when I'm kind of like sketching out along the lash line. But I'm just for, I think, the crease, gonna go back into the Beauty Bento with the brown quote unquote matte. And because again, it is kind of more of a sequin matte and not a flat matte, some of that shimmer is going to kind of be my friend a little if we don't end up being perfect with placement and whatnot. Because again, not a makeup artist. Eyeshadow is hard. Unlike my wonderful friend Chani, I am not good with like graphic eyes. That's not in my skill set. But I think maybe to give myself a little bit of easier precision here in the crease, I'm gonna take this Quo Beauty, what is this called? Precision Shadow. And it's kind of like a little teeny tiny like fan brush. Pretty narrow, very, very soft, but I like it. It's just like lovely to put on your face. And I'm gonna take that into, again, just dabbing the like tip of the brush into this shadow. And there's like a decent amount of kickback in the matte, which is not something I'm mad about, but just, you know, we always like to make note of those things. And I'm really just kind of dabbing that into where my personal crease is. I have like round eyes. I don't mind emphasizing the shape of them. I like a big-eyed moment, but I'm basically just like tucking it into like the ocular bone. Gross. And then with my finger, because my skin is still quite tacky, I'm literally just using my finger to kind of feather out those edges. And I don't think that effect is terrible. It's like pretty hard to notice the difference because these colors are already like loaded onto my skin. And again, I want it to look and feel natural, so I'm not mad about that at all. You know, we're not going for like full glam here. Just emphasis of my natural stuff, what my mama gave me. And if I want to like kind of just bring it out a little bit on the sides here, I can do that. And actually, just to give myself a little bit of like a more angular appearance, I can take that with this brush because it already has that shape to it without it feeling forced. And again, just kind of like dabbing at any edges. And I do like that it's a sequin because I like, for me personally, like I don't necessarily always want like a full shimmer shadow. I like dispersed sparkle. It just feels, I don't know, like cuter, which when I was younger, not ever something that I wanted to be. I didn't want to be cute. It's like, why can't someone just call me beautiful? Like, will I ever get to be sexy? Now I'm totally content with cuteness. You know, we like to have a cute, fun time here. So I've leaned into that. I've learned to lean in. I'm going back into the Sashimi City palette actually, and I'm going into that gourmet shade with my finger because I do just want a little bit more of the pigment from that kind of neutralizing shade on my eyeshadow, or sorry, on my eyelid. And I feel like if I go in with my finger, it's just gonna stick a little bit better. And I feel like that was the right call. I will get some creasing just because I don't know, like, do I have hooded eyes? I don't know. What shape are my eyes? What shape is my face? What color is my skin? I will get creasing just because of the natural shape and like hang of my eyelids, but I don't care. I'm not gonna lose precious anxiety moments over that, you know? Going back in with this little Eco Tools brush, I'm gonna go back into this like sequin shadow and also just fluff that out along the lower lash line because why not? Again, if there's glitter dispersion all over my face, so be it. So be it. Now, because I do want to bring in some of that pink, that coral tone, I'm going to go in with the middle. And again, I think with my finger. And I'm placing it. I am not swiping, which just feels like an important differentiation to make. I think that's fine. Again, we're going for glitter dispersion, not necessarily like full pigment shimmer. And that's fine. But now that I'm seeing that, I do want a little bit more darkness in the outer corners that is matte. So I think I'm going to go into Sashimi City, into the shade Promenade, which is like the second deepest brown, but is a little less red than the darkest, which is called soy sauce. And I'm just going to tap that, or press rather, into the corner. Like my eyeball is wiggling. I'm really getting it in there, which is gross. And you know, if we make mistakes and get messy, we can always just take a concealer brush and wipe. Also, fingers always work to like tap down anything that feels a little too dark. I'm gonna take an even tinier brush here. This is another one from Eco Tools. It is the liner smudge, which is exactly what I want. And I'm going back into Promenade, the same shade I just used, in the upper corner. And I'm now placing that on the lower lash line. I think we're getting there. We're getting there with the eyes. But if I take this nice quo brush and just use it to really like fan out those corners, it's going to help achieve some of that kind of flare just a little bit more. Yeah, I like. Again, I want just a little bit more depth and along the lash line. So I'm now taking, I think this is just a Sephora liner brush from one of their like mini sets. Maybe better seen if I hold it this way. And I'm now gonna go into soy sauce, tapping very, very lightly. And I'm gonna take just a little mirror and hold it real close so I can get some good precision. But that is going to be placed all along the lash line. And I'm just a little, I have some eyeliners here if I feel like I need just more impact, but I always feel the margin of error is just like larger when it comes to eyeliners, for me at least. Also, the kickback on the Kaleidos shadows is pretty extreme too, especially if you're like dabbing in with like a really sharp kind of angled brush. Also, this is gonna be a long ass video. This is basically a podcast, as Hannah Louise posted and called her last video. Like, so apologies for that. It's just kind of the way it is. But also, it's nice to just like be able to take your sweet time. Now, because of this sweet little liner brush, I was able to actually get a little bit of that like wing. Sketch it out just a little bit further. And then pat it so it's not like so harsh. And then I'm gonna go back in with the fluffy. Okay, I feel like that is okay for now. And because my hair is not drying fast enough, I'm gonna have to go in and take the blow dryer with my diffuser to it, because I do not want to put a heat tool to damp hair. That is a disaster waiting to happen. And now I am definitely going to have to rush myself just a touch more, which is a little unfortunate, but you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. So I'm gonna go off camera, do what I need to my hair, plug in the hot tool. We'll get to that. Then I think I can get my dress on, and then we'll finish up the mascara and the blush. And I think I am gonna go in with just a few more freckles. And then we will finish off with, I think, a very, 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 very simple lip. Like lip liner gloss, which is something easy and that I can just toss into my purse. Possibly I'll add a little bit of color, but we'll see. Anyways, we'll come back very soon. All right, I'm back. Hair is like as dry as I'm gonna get it now in my current time constraints. I've got my dress on. I'm feeling now stressed. So for eyes, I think I'm just gonna finish off with like literally, again, we're gonna go into that kind of chrome shadow and just dab. I wanna just give myself a little extra sparkle. It's not really actually lying down on top of the shimmer, which is just a touch annoying, but it's fine. I'm bringing all of this stuff with me because I'm staying over at my boyfriend's this weekend anyway, so like I'll have it if I need it en route. We're good. Out of my own paranoia, I've got a pot here. Even though I have a silicone like heat protector, I just was like, I don't want to burn my bamboo desk here. So silicone heat protector, and we've got this tool. Although I'm not mad about the like status of my hair as is, so I may just kind of take a few small pieces rather than doing, the cat is just trying to attack birds, if you can hear that. I'm just going to take, I think, a few small pieces and just give like extra emphasis, I think, on the top layers where the hair doesn't always cooperate with like curls. And I think it's going to give me kind of that like messy sort of beachy vibe, which I'm honestly totally fine with. I don't need perfect hair. I am not the bride. I'm just a guest trying to live her best life, trying to look a little pretty. Also, first time I think that my boyfriend will have seen me like this dressed up. And in this style of dress, I usually wear like kind of baby doll style dresses, which is just very much a personal preference. As we said earlier, it's like a cute thing. So I think it will be kind of like exciting for, and I've only seen pictures of him in like a suit and tie. So just kind of like a little bit of a milestone for the two of us as well. Just sort of be going to this sort of more formal event. Getting to play dress up together, it's always very exciting. And as per usual, I think I'm gonna go for a bow moment with the hair, because we know I love a bow moment. I absolutely adore a bow moment. And I have a bow that perfectly matches my dress. Now my shoes and my bag are slightly different color. My eyes deceived me a little bit while planning that, but I don't know that it matters that much. Like, we're still in this same like range, so should be fine. Okay, here's a straggler that looks pretty straight. Can't see the back, but because I'm putting a bow, we're doing like a half up, half down kind of scenario. The bow is going to sort of disguise anything that's like right back here that I cannot currently observe with my own two eyes. I'm just gonna go ahead and pin some of this, and I do have hairspray. My hair doesn't usually cooperate with hairspray, but we'll see. We will see what happens. Also, I've been listening to this playlist. I've been rewatching One Tree Hill, and you know, the theme song of that is I Don't Want to Be by Gavin DeGraw. And so I've been listening to like the I Don't Want to Be radio on Spotify. And my God, the songs are so good. That did not work. I'm just really trying not to burn myself here because I've burned myself before on this tool. This is like one of the ones where you should be using that like chainmail glove. Anyways, this Spotify playlist has been an absolute dream, especially if you're like feeling very nostalgic. Some of that music just brings me so much joy. Music has always had like a very large impact on my emotional landscape. So I don't know, and also Pisces, you know, feeling sad, blah, blah. We just really lean into that. Gonna kind of let my hair sit. So I think it's an opportunity now to go in with kind of the body product, which I think because it is now very sunny outside and I want to make sure that my skin is protected, we're gonna go in with the K-Skin Sun Care Protection Isle Glow Body Lotion SPF 45. And that's gonna go right across the chesticle, up the neck, shoulders. Ooh, almost had a little bit of a nip slip, but I am wearing little like nipple protectors. I can always crop this. But it's just gonna also give me like a gorgeous glow. Unfortunately, I can't get my back, so I'm gonna have to probably bring this with me and ask the boyfriend to apply on my back. But I do like, whew, look at that. Also, I love my collarbone. You know how there's just like parts of your body, like I don't love my tummy because we have a fraught relationship thanks to Crohn's disease. But I fucking love my collarbone. My collarbone is my best friend. It's one of my favorite features. And I want that for all of us. You know, I just want all of us to have a body part that just brings us an infinite amount of joy. Now that I'm thoroughly glittery, there's a towel on the floor here that I was using to kind of soak up some of my foot cream because I do have open-toed little gorgeous mule sandals, so that's gonna come with me. But I do have this Mer Manoy oil as well that's like this gorgeous gold, and I just, do I go the distance and go with this? No. You know what? We're just gonna go with simplicity. I'm gonna let that soak in before I put my necklace on, but I can pop my earrings in at the very least. I'm going with my kind of like medium size rose gold textured hoops. These are not from any like mainstream jeweler. They're from a local jeweler in my hometown, but been loving the hoops in the last few years. Makes me super, super happy. And I'm actually thinking that I'm gonna do some rings, which I never do, but I have so many stunning rings from Blue Boho, and I like to mix my metals. So all of my metals today are going to be a mix of gold, rose gold. So I'm going to go with my 2 gold on my right hand, middle finger. I've got just like a plain stacker and then a braided one. And then on my left hand, on my ring finger, because it's a finger that I can use for rings, I'm going to go in with my 2 gold rings. It's actually like a little bit big, but it's fine, it'll stay. So I've got another, I think, braided rose gold, and then the second one, but I'm actually gonna, they're flipped, which I like, just in the sake of like visual interest. You probably can't see it, but the not braided one is like hammered, which I also love in a ring. I love a hammered metal aesthetic. I do have more. I've got some silver here. I've got like a gorgeous little signet ring that has my initial on it. Maybe I will wear that. It's silver. I, again, don't mind mixing metals. And the necklace I have is actually more, it's like a bronze. So maybe I'll throw that in. But if I do that, then I feel like I need to be balanced and have silver on the right hand. So I've got a gorgeous little pearl ring. It currently fits on my middle finger, but I feel like that might make me feel a little claustrophobic because it's a tiny bit tight. What about this one? This little angled. I feel like I could get away with that on my like pointer finger. It's kind of like more of a knuckle ring, but it's a little too big for that. I could get that actually on my middle finger, but no. You know what? I'll put that on my ring finger as well. And as long as people don't like, this is not an insinuation, you know, like I'm not trying to hint at anything. It's just jewelry. Why do we constantly have to justify things, you know? Because heaven forbid the delicate flowers in the world get all up in arms, because I'm not saying that that's going to happen. It's just some people jump to conclusions. This is not engagement or wedding. It's just jewelry. And I'm going to bring my little sachet here in case I do start to feel claustrophobic. That's one of the reasons why I don't wear rings, because it kind of like fucks with my sensory issues. But I'll bring the sachet with me in case I need to take them off and need a safe space to put them. I think that's fine. And then for the necklace, I've got this gorgeous choker from this bronze metal artist. Her name is Sloan. She's based out of St. Petersburg in Florida. And it's just such a beautiful piece. I think this neckline like suits the choker. I still, like, I don't think I want anything dangling, but I just love a choker moment. So I'm also gonna bring a little bag for that, just for later in the evening. Oh, the countdown is on. This is the final countdown. I don't actually hate the hair like all big and floofy like this. My hair has really been embracing its natural texture. It's just like doing its own thing, and I applaud it for that. But I think we are going to go with my initial plan. This is my bow. It matches the dress. Again, we're going cute. That is okay with me. So mirror positioned here, and we're going, I'm placing the bow quite high on the crown of my head, and there are going to be some additional accessories that play into the hairstyle I'm going for, but I just want to make sure that we're not getting like too weird, like too many weird lumpies up here. And then the bow is going to go right up there. Might have to do some readjustments, we'll see. Bangs, but I just think that's like so pretty and feminine, and I am a femme. Also, for anyone who's tuning in, happy freaking Pride. Pride is more important than ever, given everything, all of the atrocities that are happening to the community, especially in frickin' America. Just like the absolute garbage pit of the world at the moment. No offense for anyone who actually lives there. You know who you are, and I love you. And I think you know the situation has, it's not personal, and you can't really help where you live sometimes. Okay, now I've got these adorable little hair jewels. I have this, but I think that's overkill. That is for a completely different hairstyle, so we're just gonna move that off to the side. But I do have these adorable little jewels that are just like kind of twist ins. And I want to play with that very much. I never get to dress up, and I love to dress up, so you can't stop me. And because they're twist-ins, I'm literally just going to twist them in. And I got these from Claire's Claire's is a very dangerous place to go if you have a spending problem because they're like, buy 3, get 100 things free. Dangerous, I tell you. But great for hair accessories, honestly. Especially if it's like for an occasion like this. Some people might feel very strongly about like buying more special items. Like if it was my wedding, I probably would buy a more special item, you know, like spend a little bit of money, get something from a designer that I really like. But because I am just a guest, I didn't want to break the bank. I don't necessarily, my hair is not cooperating. I don't need to like, the hair accessories don't need to become part of like the day's memorabilia for me. But if I was the bride, I would probably want that. So I would like spend money on some of these accessories a little bit more seriously. This is not working the way that I wanted it to. This one just locked in nicely, but I might just, in the name of time, look, we screwed up everything already. I knew this was potentially dangerous for this reason because they're kind of like fussy little objects. Objets. Okay, there we go. Flop that back down, but I'm losing some of the curl in like the now little ponytail aspect, so. And yeah, we're gonna have to go in with hairspray. Like this piece. I think also, again, because I didn't completely dry the hair. Just working with what we've got. There's some pieces back here that are absolutely not curly at all. I'm gonna have to take the mirror into the bathroom and do a full audit. But you know what? I don't know that I need the little gold pieces. It was a cute idea, but I will have other opportunities to play with further accessories. And maybe I'll just throw them into my makeup bag. And if we have a little bit of time before we leave, because I still have to get to my boyfriend's. That's the issue. I want to make sure that I'm traveling with the actual powder I want. So that's coming with me. Okay, we're going to do lip first. And I've got just a lip liner here, waterproof. I never do lip liner, but I felt like, you know, the occasion required it. This is the waterproof lip liner from Annabelle in the shade Boysenberry. And I'm just doing, the intention is just shadow, not necessarily giving full definition, but I am gonna go onto the Cupid bow, and that can go into my makeup bag. Now, blush. And then I gotta finish off with mascara. Oh God, you know when you start to panic and you have to pee? I really blame work for this. While I'm not panicking, I'm going to give myself some perfume. This is the standard Vanilla Woods 7 Virtues in the spray bottle. Got it in my mouth. I've noticed that what is left in the roller ball that I still have, it's been leaking. So that's kind of just staying on my vanity for now. And then we're going to finish off with blush. I picked up the new Say Glow Sculpt Multi-Use Cream Highlighting Blush. From the pictures on Sephora, I did not expect this large of a package. I kind of was expecting like something in between the Ritual de Fille and like this size. So I was overwhelmingly surprised by the size of this particular package. Like it's big. Again, do keep in mind that I'm small. I have tiny hands, but it's like quite substantial for the package. But then the actual pan is not that size. But this is the shade Peach Glow, which is the shade that I have been after for all of my blush purposes. And I have another little e.l.f. blush brush here. It is the brush designed for the putty blush, which I thought was really appropriate to this. And it's kind of like one of those stippling brushes. So it's very like dispersed at the top, but it's such a pretty color. I'm just like now maybe a little bit too glowy, but we're definitely going on the nose. And again, if I need to make any like changes to this, I can. I think this is probably not the right color for my lips, but that's gonna go into my makeup bag. But I do have the Ritual Defeat Color Nectar Pigment Balm in the latest shade that I got, which is Hummingbird. And it leans peach, but it's a little bit, I would say it's definitely more strawberry. And I am gonna go in with just a kiss of that, I think, just to give myself like some pigment. I think now my lips honestly actually look, they're not peach enough. We've gone a little too blue. We've gone in the wrong direction, but I'll fix it later. I'm running out of time, like severely. Okay, I'm gonna throw on my mascara. You're not gonna have to watch that. And then I'm going to go get my hairspray my hair. Then we're gonna throw on my shoes. You can see the full look, but I think like we're there. I think I'm pretty happy with this very cute look. And this dress, which is so cute, but you'll get to see the full thing momentarily. Okay, be right back. Okay, mascara is on, hairspray is in. Kind of regretting the hairspray. Remembered why I don't really use hairspray, because I feel like it just took away the complete gorgeous like soft touch of what I had set up before. And I don't know. Whatever. I don't have time to fuss and fix now, so we're just didn't really work out the way I wanted it to, but it's fine. If need be, I can like brush them out a little bit, but we've just kind of got like chunky, but it's fine. Mascara's on, love it. And now for the full view. Stay tuned. Okay, here we are. The shoes and the purse are not a perfect match, but if anyone judges me, I don't have time to change it. I have silver ones, but it's just not the right silhouette for this dress. And I do just like the size of this heel. These are the Aldo Pillow Walk mules, so they're just like genuinely and generally very comfortable to walk in, and some of my other heels are not. And you know, it's still, I'm recovering from pandemic times, but this is just kind of like a silhouette of a dress that I never wear, so I'm feeling a little self-conscious, but also shake what your mama gave you. I don't know. Here it is. Here's the final look with this little linen scarf to kind of act as a shawl if it's like super air conditioned and I get chilly. But yeah, we gotta go. Yay. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'll put my Instagram here. You can maybe see, kind of follow along with some of the rest of the day's festivities. But now it is just time for me to go and have fun. Okay, love you so much.